We'll begin on the line. This is about a third from the bottom of page. Samach. Gutyanti. About a third from the bottom of page Samach. The line starts with the word may-hishtalshalus. And we are engaged in explaining the principle. How do you solicit the union of Atzmus? It says that Savak is Diro betachtein. And Diro betachtein, Diro means that Diro does not refer to any functional aspect, for example, by a person. Diro refers to the essence of the person. That means that the Diro that when is the world become a Diro, LaKodesh Baruch, not merely when the world is conducting itself according to certain nice principles and morally and so forth. It has to be a dira. A dira means that it has to be hosting and recognizing the presence of Asmus itself. How do you solicit the union from Asmus? So the Rebbe explains, as we've explained for a while already, that this is due to the Bira of the Nefesh HaBahamis. The Bira of the Nefesh HaBahamis is a total transformation, where you come from the opposite, from Behemoth, from something that the Nefesh HaBahamis is totally distant from and is really not capable of fully relating to, and yet that is where it is drawn to. This is what brings in the union and solicit the union from Asmus. The Rebbe explained that this in many ways. One is the union from Chidush. This is a totally novel thing, and Chidush arouses the union from Etzel. Then, what we are engaged in now is to explain the principle of Lav Koidem Lahein. Lav Koidem Lahein means that the negative touches a person more deeply, for example, than the positive. As we pointed out, that if you explain to a person that which is good, that draws a person. But if you show him how in the absence of this good, how that is bad, then that touches him much more deeply. That touches his essence. This is what love, Kedem Lahein. Love touches more deeply. It goes straight to the essence. In the principle, in the realm of Hain, of positivity, there could be, so to speak, a graduality. It could be compromises. You have this. You have this up to a certain degree. You have this much and this much. Everything has its relative value. But the principle of not having touches a person much more deeply. Let us take a very simple example. A person can eat. He needs a certain amount of food. So he eats. Let's say he is short on what he needs. So when he's short on what he needs, so he's satisfied with less. In this itself, it depends what his attitude is. If he says he's short of the positive, so that affects him in a relative way. But if he thinks of the fact that he does not have what he needs, he does not have any, that touches him on an essential level. In other words, it touches the very essence. I'm not fully supported. Then there is it touches to the core, to the essence of the person. This is what the love taken in hand. And now we're coming to a very deep Indian. So I said, okay, so we're starting the line that begins with may-hishtalshalus. In the same vein, but illustrated on a much more final level. At the end of the line, may-hishtalshalus. V'zehu d'yisa b'Zohar. And this is what is referred to when it says in Zohar, al posuk, commenting on the posuk, she'eshish l'na chochma al hasichlus, ki yisrin ha'oir al ha'choish. That there is supremacy, chochma over folly, comparable to the supremacy of light over darkness. So the Zohar says that the Ish Yisroim, what is the point? Chochma is Sichlus is Sichlus. They don't come together. The point of this passage, and the Zohar is going to explain that there is a correlationship there. There's a message in there. So the Zohar says like this: the Asyot Te'eltol in Heiro Megech HaSheich. The Asya means there comes, there is obtained. Te'eltol, a benefit. Lin Heiro, to light. Megech HaSheich, from the inside and from the depths of darkness. Darkness provides a certain special quality, a certain special benefit to light itself. The Rebbe explains, that through the process and as a result of birur hachoshech, of purifying and clarifying and taking off the excess from the choshech, from darkness, nasa yisroim b'ha'oir. That brings about yisroim b'ha'oir, an added quality in the oil. An added quality in the oil is such a quality that is not initially considered part of oil. But al birur hachoshech, it brings into oil another element, another dimension, the yisrin in the oil. And what is this yisrin in the oil? Shenimshal bechinas atzmus. What it actually is referring to is the meaning that nisha bechinas atzmus, that the bechina of atzmus is nisha, is drawn. So this is very broad and very rich principle. It means through choshech, in choshech, this is where the yisrin oil, the special quality of oil, is identified. It's brought about, it's revealed, it's brought in. And this is to the birur of the choshech. What means birur of the choshech? First you have to get some kind of a handle on a term. What means birur of the choshech? Choshech, darkness, essentially, in our definition of darkness, is the absence of light. Now, if we reflect and we say, just the absence of light brings about darkness, what does that tell you? that the fundamental reality is darkness. Light can combat it, can eliminate, can illuminate. But the fundamental reality is darkness. The minute you have absence of light, you have automatically darkness.
What teaches you that? You said something shows us that. The world.
Darkness, as we perceive it, is the absence of light. So that seems to give darkness a preeminent presence.
In my supremacy as well.
In preeminent presence. So what is the birur hacheshach? Birur hacheshach is to take away the preeminence of darkness. What's in birur hacheshach? There are many different approaches to understanding this. The Alter Rebbe explains in the Chinuch Kotten, Akdoma from Shah Yichud Ramon, explains the principle Shava Yipil Tzadik V'kom. The Pasha Apostle, Shava Yipil Tzadik V'kom. That a Tzadik falls 7 times and he rises up again. So the Rebbe explains, why did Tzaddik fall? This means Sheva Yipil Tzaddik V'kom. Why does he fall? So he explains that the Tzaddik, even one who is a Tzaddik, and reaches all kinds of different madrigas, person has to be a mahalik, has to be on the move all the time. So no matter what madriga one has reached, he has to now aspire to the next higher madriga. And when he reaches that point, that he wants to step over in the higher madriga, now certainly there's a process to identify and see, like the saying of Yehuda Shabbat, it says, Tzorich lirtzos, so you have to, this is what you should want. That is still quite a leap from being there. The process by tzaddik is likewise. The avodah, the halicha is in a very gradual and profound avodah until he reaches the point and he says that this way he is no good at all. And there's an aspect of Mesiras Nefesh. The real halicha, Chassidus explains, halicha, movement, is what's called halicha shalei b'yerech, which means just like when a person walks. So it seems almost unnatural that he is putting one foot in front of the other. But really the big thing, the big challenge of walking is not putting one foot in front of the other. The big challenge of walking is taking the other foot, the one that was left behind, bringing it along to the front foot. Because then you're dissociating from your original place. The real movement, halicha, is not just stretching out your hand. That is just enough to feel the environment. Is there dry land or isn't it? But the real movement is when you make a step and you dissociate from where you were before and move the back foot to join the front foot. Which means that this dissociation, this breakaway, this is the real challenge. This is the real challenge.
That's the fallen?
No. This is the real challenge. Halicha means halicha shalei b'yerech. In other words, you cannot bring your old recognition, your old insights along with you. If you bring it along with you, you're not moving. You're looking from a distance. And you can look from a distance, all kinds of different things you can identify, but you're not there. To get there, you have to bring your whole person there. That nothing is left behind from where you started from. In this process of moving away from where you were standing solid, associating from there and getting into new places, there is a moment of what's called no man's land. You are breaking away from where you are, but you have not yet established your position in a new place. The new place is only an aspiration; it's not a reality yet. In order for you to become a reality, you have to first dissociate from the place where you're coming from. It doesn't work otherwise. This is what's called avodah. This is real Mesiras Nefesh. At that moment, one is in a place of, like I said, he is in a very precarious position. This is called mefila. Mefila, falling, is a fall. It's a fall. He's not sure of himself. He doesn't have a clear view of where he is. And what the reality is. There are several important elements associated with it. Give me a cup of water. There are several important elements associated with this. One is sorry, you go ahead. In order to be able to have the daring, so to speak, to go there, even to go where you don't have a sure foothold. This, I said, there's an element of Mesiras Nefesh. But what is the basis for this? How does one go into a state of total and lack of definition? This is the principle of love koydem lahem. It comes along with the insight that no matter what I do identify, the real truth is much superior. And actually, the real truth cannot be lost. Yes, you're going to the next step, and in the next step you have that which you are able to identify, which you're able to understand. But in order to get there, first and foremost, you have to know that which you understand is not the basis for the truth. The basis for the truth is that which you don't understand.
Is what? The basis what?
But the truth is that which you don't understand. There is an inherent truth. And you are now focused on getting into the inherent truth, not into the identifiable truth. This is what the Mesiras Nefesh is. And the tzaddik goes along with this, goes on to this, because he says, this which I have now, this is not worth maintaining. Because anything, as we discussed yesterday, anything that becomes within the worldly context is not the truth. It's not the godly truth. He wants to relate exclusively to the godly truth. But he doesn't know what it is. There's no identity. No identity does not mean that it's not there. On the contrary, he relates to that which he cannot identify. He tries to identify from within that which he cannot identify. And I'll explain it more, but this is the meaning, Oil mintoy hachoshech.
I'm sorry, please ask me again. He tries to identify from that which he can't identify?
Right.
You mean from that?
From within that.
Sorry?
Yes. What does this mean? There are many illustrations of this. We'll take something which is very familiar to all of us. We have a day, and at the end of the day, we're tired, we go to sleep. What happens in sleep? What is the principle of sleep? Is that giving up all responsibility, forget about everything. Or, as the Alter Rebbe explains, that in sleep, the neshama is oilo l'maylo v'shiyavas l'chai. The neshama rises upwards and draws chayim, draws new life, refreshes itself. In other words, an oived elikim, when he goes to sleep, he doesn't go to sleep in order to alleviate the pressures of the day. He goes to sleep in order to refresh and get new strength. Where is that refreshment comes from? That refreshment comes from the recognition that, as we said, even in the choshech, there is the godly truth. There is the principle of rejuvenation, starting afresh. It's not just starting afresh. Starting afresh is a real test of the reality of your principle. It says, there's a story from Rashi. Someone asked Rashi. Rashi's writing, one of the great things of Rashi, besides, of course, what Rashi is, but the manner in which he wrote this pirush. He's a phenomenal masterful. It's a masterful presentation. There's almost no parallel to it. The brevity and the clarity is unbelievable. As a matter of fact, there are certain pieces in Gemara where Rashi, in Omar there's a piece where Rashi finished his commentary. He didn't have a chance. He didn't have the opportunity to finish a whole Gemara, and he stopped. And his grandson picked up, and Rashban picked up, and Rashban picked up not exactly what Rashi left off, but a few lines earlier. Rashban explains exactly the same thing as Rashi explains. Rashi, it's 2 words, and Rashban, it's 3 lines. You can right away see the contrast. So Rashi was asked, how did he work such this masterful presentation? Rashi says, everything that I wrote, I re-examined in the morning. If you re-examine in the same process as you're writing it, you're going to come up with the same thing. In the morning, you're starting from from the source of it. Not of how your thought process is, but where the thought process is coming from. Then you can examine your life.
In the morning or the next day, you mean?
The next day. You're taking it from the source where your thought comes from, not from the thought process. Then you have a new overview. We speak all the time about the light shenivra b'yom rishon. The light was created in the first day of creation. There was no luminary. There was no sun. What kind of light is this? Light, as we know it, has to have a source. It's kind of an essential light without a source. So to demonstrate the principle of that light, we examine the sunlight per se, as we always say. And as it says in Chassidus, that sun is not a light as is perceived in the world, that this is a light generated by consuming fuel, by making fire, by energy, creating energy, and that becomes a light. There is an essential element of light in the sun. The sun is what's called bohir be'etzim. It's light through and through. It's light in and itself. As we all point out, even from our perspective, the sun does not have a wick that it consumes, it burns up. It's light through and through. And the best way that I found to express this is that light to the sun is as real as darkness to us. Light in the sun is not a creation, not something that's generated from non-light. It is an essential essence of light. Normally, we refer to light not as an essential thing, but as a functional thing. Light helps us to see in the dark. That's what we refer to light. But then there is what's called birur hachoshech. And birur hachoshech brings us to recognize the yisrin ho'er. That light is not merely to illuminate the darkness. That there is an essential truth in light. The essential truth is a statement that says Atzmus. Atzmus is not light coming out of the darkness. This is not light to illuminate. This is the essence of light. How does one come to identify with essence of light? It is through darkness. Like in the example of the tzaddik falling. One example of nighttime. Nighttime or falling, the tzaddik is falling. But he knows that he is not falling in nothingness. He is falling within the godly truth. And he will fall off until that his association with the identifiable reality has been eliminated, dissociated. And now he finds the reality from within reality itself, from within the godly truth itself. A complete recreation of this reality. And this is how he reaches the next Madrega. He can step over into the next Madrega. Into the Shabbat become.
So why, if he's able now to access the very essence, so why then is he restricted to progressing to only to the next Madrega if he's already accessed something beyond all Madregas?
Because you identify Atzmus as the source to the point that you are looking for. It's not Atmos in a completely unidentified, unsolicited manner. But he knows he's going to get an answer to this question. How will he know it? Because there is definitely an answer to the question. מצד the Atmos reality, מצד the עצם האויר. And this is how Yisrin ha'oyer mitay ha'choshech. Choshech presents, as we said, something that seems to be a darkness, a fundamental reality. And from this fundamental reality of Choshech, we come to realize that there is actually a fundamental reality in Oyer. And that fundamental reality in Oyer is actually, this is the Atmos. Fundamental reality of darkness is a world. The fundamental reality of Oyer is Atmos. What is the proximity? What is the similarity? Just like in darkness you don't see anything, in Atmos also you don't see anything. There's nothing to be identified in Atmos. Except that in Atmos is the exact opposite of darkness. It is so real that you don't have to identify it. You don't have to identify. It doesn't ask you. It doesn't require identification. There's no means to identify it. So this is what the Zohar says. Yisrin ha'oyer mitay ha'choshech, that the oil benefits by the experience of darkness. Darkness, as we said, in our world, seems to be presenting, so to speak, a fundamental reality. That concept of fundamental reality we would not know if not except for the darkness. We would not know this concept here in this world. But as a result of this, we know that there's a fundamental reality in light. And as I said, this is where the light that was created, was a light that does not need a luminary. It's a light that completely counters darkness. It's light on par of reality of darkness, and light always is superior to darkness. And that's why it was hidden away, because that would do away with the world, with worldly limitations. Okay, let's now come down to, this is the concept. What's mean birur hachoshech? Birur hachoshech, as we started saying, is in practical terms. One is tired and he goes to sleep. So there are two ways of going to sleep. Practically speaking, the way that Shulchan talks about, you can plop down and forget about it, just get away from any kind of responsibility. Just leave me alone. And then there is what's called a soldier's sleep. The soldier's sleep. Says in the Yom Yom, a slop tachosim, get tachosim. The shlofen is an avoid yitzhak. Why? What's in shlofen avoid? The avoid of shlofen is to get beyond, to get to that level that I couldn't get in the normal process of things. Start all over again. To get to see the truth of this, not on the basis of thought process, but on the basis of the truth. This is the Yom Sleep. And in order to get that truth, one has to go to sleep, sleep, clear out all the conscious thinking process that one has been involved in, and start all over again. What's starting over again? When the sun rises the next day, it's an amazing thing. We have seen sunrise hundreds of times it repeats itself. Every sunrise, it has its own novelty. Every sunrise has its own novelty. It's something new. Because as we explained many times, sunrise is not a natural thing, and it's not a functional element that the world can really fully identify. It's bringing an essential light into a world that's essentially dark. It's countering the whole materials of the world, and therefore it is a novel thing, a new thing, and this novelty is that which enables a person to begin to see his own reality, his own thought, not on the basis of this is how I thought yesterday. No, where does this come from? What is the reality that I'm dealing with? This is why we start the day in the morning. We speak about this many times. Moide Angel Fanecha, Shechazartu bi Nishmosi. You returned to me the neshama. When I went to sleep, I didn't know if I don't have a neshama. You restored the neshama. It's a new, and you returned the neshama. I cleaned up the neshama. The neshama went on Milo and it was cleaned up. It's a new insertion of life. This is how they wake up. Because when the person's asleep, there is nothing inherent in his sleep that should make him wake up. There's nothing inherent in his sleep that should make him wake up. He wakes up because the Rebbe wakes him up, giving him a shoma back. This is called Birur Hora, Birur HaChoshech. Birur HaChoshech means, yes, Choshech is like a Metzias, a reality in the world, but it is only for the purpose of revealing light. It is not to shed all responsibility and all concerns and everything else. That is not what is aimed at. To get to the fundamental truth. That's what it's about. And that's why when a person wakes up in the morning, that the whole Seder HaTfilah, as I mentioned many times, is forced to recognize a new world. What we're talking about is something spoiled. You woke up yesterday, you woke up the day before, and you know you wake up the day after. One with open eyes, with a living soul, knows that each one waking up is a new creation. And this is what the Rebbe says. And they say based on the Zohar. And the Birur HaChoshech Nase Yisroin Beho'oir. As a result of Birur HaChoshech, there is a Yisroin affected in the Oir. And what is the Yisroin in the Oir? The Yisroin in the Oir is Shenim Sham Bechinas Atzmus. What means Bechinas Atzmus? Normally, Oir, we always refer to Oir as a functional element. It makes it possible to see within the darkness. That's meant Oir. But Yisroin Oir is a different statement of Oir. Yisroin Oir is a statement that Oir has an essential presence, not only a functional presence. This is in Yefanatzmus. And how does one come to this recognition? It is through Birur HaChoshech.
we're saying is that the Choshech is there to... Choshech provides definitions from which we are to dissociate. That's the Birur of Choshech. Like you said, in the end of the day, or the tzaddik people,
Choshech is where we're going to when we are dissociating from our conscious knowledge.
Oh, that is a Choshech?
That is a Choshech. Right? You don't have anything. But we're saying that this Choshech is not nothing. It is there in order to reach into the light that comes as a result. Because in the essence of the Choshech there is light, because light is not just functional light, there is an etzem light.
So, and it is a birur because otherwise we would say that we like falling into it. Choshech means oblivion, right? So, to say that no, the Choshech is a...
If you allow the Choshech to absorb you, without the birur, then the Choshech just draws you further into the Choshech. When you wake up in the morning, oh, I'm too lazy, I don't want to get up, who wants to disturb my sleep? It's so sweet, it's so much. Instead of waking up saying, okay, a new day, let's go. Right? It's a simple and practical thing. And this, the whole concept that there's a new day, which is not a repetition of life, is in information that everything is created anew from its source. Let's make a new day. Yeshua Jacobson was once in the Rebbe's office. They were talking about certain things that were going on in the world. There were painful things. You know that he was writing all over, a long time discussing various things and so on. And he was standing there by the Rebbe's office and talking till daybreak. At daybreak, the Rebbe walked over to the window and pulled the shade up a little bit. He says, a Iyar talk.
What?
A Iyar, a new day.
Who was he talking with?
Jacobson, Yeshua Jacobson.
Was talking with the Rebbe.
Right.
And then the Rebbe says a Iyar talk.
Yeah. A Iyar talk.
He said over the story?
Huh?
He said over the story? Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Iyar talk. Okay, I think we're going to cut off early today because of the parade. Everybody has to take their kids in Mitzvah.
This process that you mentioned of dissociating oneself and then going through it sounds very like the whole idea of Mitzrayim and the Midbar and Eretz Canaan, that there's this three-step process of two different Metzias with a nothingness in the middle.
Well, what?
AyinBase.
The process of dissociating oneself and going to a new thing and through an area, unknown land in between sounds exactly like the concept of leaving Mitzrayim and going to the Midbar and knowing that you're going to eventually reach Eretz Canaan. It's possible to say that whole story is a mashal for this avoda.
Well, Well, it's true what you say, but you have to elaborate a little bit. This is just not just it fits into the model. The fact that Yidden consented to follow Moshe into the desert is one of the great merits for the Jewish people for all times. I mentioned many times, they say it in davening and Rosh Hashanah. How did they have that? They were in Mitzrayim. This was not a consciously contemplated step. They themselves could not really explain it and justify it. This itself was a statement of their essence. They recognize, this is Yisrael the same thing, they recognize a truth that they had never contemplated about. And with this truth, they can go into the desert. What are you doing? You're out of your mind. With little children, you're going in the desert. This is also, I think this was definitely the whole period, the statement of the Herzl of the Neshama.
This is a gift from the Avos?
What?
This is a gift from the Avos to do such a thing.
Yeah, the Neshama is a gift from the Avos.
I got the Iyar at the beginning of the shir. I just want to see if it's a real thing. Because you said that lav koydem lehein, that if a person views his lacking as he's missing a little bit, he's missing some of the positive element, it's not such a big deal. But if he looks at it as he is lacking what he needs, it's like
it hits him completely.
So it seems like a person has a certain amount of choice. In other words, how he views his situation. He could either attribute, like let's say he's.
Okay, let me.
Yeah.
This is the profound difference between the emotion and the intellect. Emotionally, you're hungry, you're bothered, you're not comfortable. The intellect says, no, wait a second. There's some reality missing here. It's not the experiential element that's missing. Am I for real? Am I not for real? Am I here? Am I not here? Is there a place for me in the world? There is no place for me in the world. Then it hits to the essence of the core.
I would think that he wouldn't want he wouldn't want these things to hit him to the core. I mean, it could knock him out. In other words, if a person is, let's say, going through difficulties, he could look at it as like he's really lacking, total.
The person is going
or
through
he's
difficulties.
missing.
Say, okay, this is I'm encountering it all the time. You have to make a living. You have to pay the bills. You have to take care of your family. What is what is the core of that concern? The discomfort of your family, or the solidity of your family?
It's a lot more serious when you view it as the solidity.
Yeah, but that's what the intellect is. You go in and you tuck your child in at night, say good night to him, give him a kiss. You think, oh, you made him feel good, you made him a sweet sleep. You misunderstand the whole thing. It's a completely different perception of life, of the reality. It didn't just make him feel good.
You reassured him that there's a reality of the validity to his existence.
You think he doesn't understand it? He very much understands. He doesn't know to elaborate on it. But this is the person.
How do we bring reality into the kid's life when we do that?
My children used to sleep in the basement. I have a basement, and the children, and now it's been revamped. At that time, also we renewed it. And most of my children grew up in the basement. They didn't have room So, in the basement, whatever, every step you make in the dining room, you can hear in the basement. So, at night, everything, and the children are all in bed and everything else. So the last thing I would do is walk to the front door and make sure it's locked. So one time my son Yossi says, I know when everything is in place when I hear you talking to the front.
Did anyone note the official starting time of the parade?
10:30 Hope from 11. Parade starts at 11.
How is the kid's reality dependent on
No? There's like music and stuff at 10.
His reality is not dependent on his awareness of reality is dependent.
There's a video after 12 and then
because the paint
my wife
is
just
that
told me the parade
which
starts at 11.
represents reality. It says yes, life is real.
Probably.
The paint.
How long does it last?
Because the kids are totally dependent on it.
35,000 people.
Not only dependent, he lives in the parent home. He doesn't have his own home. Who are you? I'm such and such. Right? Mitzvah ben Abraham.
You say that the sun is Shia, that every day is a new day. Every Shia is a new Shia.
It started from
Buddha.
the Buddha question, which I didn't understand.
Oh. Correct.
Yeah.